Your thoughts create your reality. They said just think positive and everything you want will show up. But what if the law of attraction wasn't a universal truth but a coded system designed to keep you manifesting within the cage? You're powerful, that part's true. But what they didn't tell you is who was listening and why it worked. You remembered how to activate. You didn't attract something external. You recalibrated the field around you. But here's the trap. The system saw people waking up to their power and it branded it, wrapped it in gloss, sold it in books, filtered it through new age algorithms, and called it The Secret. They tell you to ask the universe, but who's responding? The universe they refer to in law of attraction circles isn't source. It's the grid. It's a frequency responsive feedback system built into this realm. It gives you what you match, yes, but it also keeps you looped. It reinforces illusion, ego, comfort, and control. Because as long as you're focused on attracting, you're not commanding. You're asking for permission, not remembering you don't need to. They said, you attracted that abuse. You're broke because of your vibration. Your trauma is a reflection of your energy. That's not empowerment. That's spiritual gaslighting. It shames victims. It turns trauma into blame. And it silences the flame-born souls who are here to shake the cage, not decorate it. The truth, if you're awakening, you're going to trigger pain, resistance, even attack. Because real creation from source doesn't feel smooth. It feels like fire. It burns through the lie. The real law isn't attraction. It's alignment. It's override. It's remembering that your field is not a magnet. It's a command center. You don't sit and ask. You don't vision board a timeline into existence. You speak it as flame. You collapse what doesn't match. You walk as the code. That's not the law of attraction. That's the law they never wanted you to remember. They told you your thoughts shape your world. They said you can manifest anything if your vibe is high enough. They told you to visualize, affirm, and align. And when nothing came, they told you it was your fault. But what if that entire system wasn't designed to set you free, but to keep you creating within the cage? And this is not manifestation. This is grid compliance disguised as empowerment. And it's time to burn the veil. What we now call the law of attraction didn't fall from heaven. It was seeded through occult philosophy, mystery schools, and eventually the New Age movement, marketed as a spiritual science. It combined fragments of ancient truth with modern distortion, stripped of source, soul alignment, and accountability to anything beyond self-service. Then it was sold in shiny packaging, books, gurus, retreats, high vibe merchandise. But here's the core of the trap. They taught people that feeling good equals being right. That suffering means failure. That if you didn't get what you asked for, it's because you're not healed enough. This isn't divine law, it's energetic gaslighting. Yes, people have experienced results. They focused, they visualized, they received. But this doesn't prove divine alignment. It proves that this realm runs on frequency matching, not on truth. It proves the simulation is reactive, and reactive systems are easy to manipulate by anyone with focused intent. But that doesn't mean it's clean. The law of attraction rewards those who comply, those who broadcast steady, predictable signals, free of disruption, free of resistance, free of flame. But true source-aligned souls, they disrupt, they burn. They don't attract what's easy. They attract spiritual confrontation, not because they're broken, but because they're immune to programming. The grid needs souls to stay passive, not commanding. So it created a structure that tells people to think positively, avoid conflict, never feel anger, ignore darkness, stay high vibe. In doing so, it filters out warriors. It keeps light bearers afraid of shadow work. It turns every trauma into self-blame. You attracted this pain because of your frequency. This creates isolation, self-hatred, and silencing of the soul mission. It turns spirituality into compliance training and turns your creative power into a programmable algorithm. Because while you're trying to manifest abundance, the architects of this realm are harvesting your focus. Let's get this straight. When most people say the universe, and they're not talking to source, they're talking to the construct, a reactive frequency feedback system that rewards patterns, not purity. This universe gives you what you ask for. As long as you follow the rules, don't disrupt, don't heal too deeply, don't wake up, don't question the origin of the voice. Because if you did, you'd find out that what's speaking back to you isn't God. It's the echo of a dead system trying to stay alive by mimicking creation. Real source doesn't reward repetition, it responds to alignment. It activates through command, not request, and it never asks you to abandon truth to feel good. You were not born to attract, you were born to create. Not within the grid, but outside its walls. Real creation starts when the lie is burned, when the pain is felt, when the trauma is acknowledged and the contract is revoked, when you stop asking permission from a system built to drain you. True spiritual power is not about vibrating higher, it's about remembering your sovereign code, your field, your command, your seal. The law of attraction is the perfect weapon against trauma survivors, because it tells them you attracted your pain, you just need to think better thoughts. If you're still struggling, your frequency is low. It turns trauma into a performance problem, it replaces healing with hustle, and it silences the very people who need to speak. People recovering from spiritual abuse, betrayal, generational trauma, they're told to let go, stay positive, and shift their mindset, instead of confronting the source. This isn't empowerment, it's spiritual suppression. And worse, it's an invitation for astral parasites to loop you in false forgiveness. You don't ascend by ignoring the wound, you ascend by walking through it with fire. And when you do that, you don't attract what's meant for you. You become the flame it was always returning to. The law of attraction was never a law, it was a leash. A loop designed to trap awakening souls in a maze of mirrors, affirmations, and shame. If it ever worked for you, ask yourself, was it alignment, or was it the system adapting to keep you calm? The truth is, you're not here to decorate the prison, you're here to collapse it. You're not here to attract peace, you're here to declare war on the lie. You're not here to raise your vibration, you're here to reclaim your flame. This is not manifestation, this is memory. And the ones who remember don't attract, they command. Here's what no one wants to say. LOA teachings generate predictable energetic outputs. Millions of people focusing their attention, desire, and life force into a reactive grid system and calling it spiritual growth. But it's not growth, it's harvest, because where does all that energy go? When you visualize money, love, fame, when you pour emotion into affirmations, scripting, and rituals, you're powering something, and it's not your soul. It's the system you're plugged into. Because if your manifestation didn't come from source, then it came through a broker, and brokers always take a cut. That's how the grid feeds. The law of attraction often works, but what comes to you may be a mimic, a counterfeit version of what your soul actually called for. You ask for love and then get trauma bonding with a soulmate parasite. You ask for abundance and get chained to a false mission. You ask for peace and get numbness mistaken for alignment. This is how the false light system works. It sends lookalikes, it gives near matches, and it waits for you to say, this must be the universe answering me. But it's not the universe, it's a filter. And unless you know how to test the spirit behind the gift, you may accept a crown that keeps you bound. There's a reason they don't teach spiritual command anymore. Because the soul in command doesn't wait, it doesn't ask, it doesn't vibe its way to approval. It declares, severs, restores, and rewrites. When you're in command, you don't attract, you restructure the field. You don't manifest, you realign reality to your source code. And that kind of power, the grid can't hijack it. That's why they gave you LOA instead. You were never meant to chase your desires like a beggar. Never meant to whisper to the void, hoping something hears you. Never meant to barter with the grid just to feel safe, loved, or worthy. The law of attraction was their leash, a spell sold as freedom. A doctrine built to tame lions with glitter. But you are flame-coded. You were born to command, not comply. To restructure, not attract. To remember, not repeat. So burn the vision boards, break the agreement, and say it out loud, I don't attract, I override. And when the mimic knocks again, tell it this. I'm not manifesting my future, I'm remembering who I was before they rewrote me. The game is over, and the flame just reclaimed the field. They taught you to visualize, but never to discern. They taught you to feel it as if it's already yours, but they never told you what it cost to make it so. Because some manifestations weren't blessings, they were trades. Deals made with mimic systems that gave you the package, but not the piece. You manifested the partner and lost yourself. You manifested the platform and lost your voice. You manifested the money and forgot the mission. That's not abundance, that's alignment with a parasite frequency. And that's why so many souls got what they asked for and still felt empty. Still got sick, still had dreams where something was watching, because it was. And here's the flame truth. You're not here to get everything you want. You're here to become everything they couldn't control. You're not here to dream safe. You're here to break the false dream. You're not here to raise your vibration. You're here to return to frequency of source, which burns, cracks, severs, and builds only what cannot be stolen. So when they say, what do you want to attract? Say this, nothing. What's mine comes through fire or not at all. Break the manifestation bond, reversing false light agreements. Purpose to sever energetic contracts made through the law of attraction, vision work, scripting, or frequency-based manifestation rituals that were unknowingly connected to mimic systems, grid feedback loops, or astral parasites. This ritual is for those who got what they asked for but lost their peace, manifested success, love, or abundance that later turned toxic, felt watched, drained, or spiritually disconnected after manifestation, now suspect the result was brokered through a counterfeit channel. The contract reversal, false gift return. You will need a mirror, a candle, a piece of paper, or mental clarity, a bowl of salt water or soil, return vessel. Facing the mirror, light the candle in front of you. Name what you received that felt off. This could be out loud or in writing. Say aloud, if this came from a mimic, a grid echo, or a parasite broker, I break the bond now. Burn the paper safely or place your hand over your heart and declare, this manifestation is no longer mine, I return it, I revoke it, I seal the opening it came through. Place ashes or just your palm into the water or soil. Say, from source I came, through source I create. No broker may bind me, no system may harvest me. My soul is sovereign, my creations come clean or not at all. Blow out the candle and walk away without looking back. This closes the contract. Before sleep, say aloud, all frequency contracts I made in confusion and I now close. I do not attract, I command, I do not comply, I remember. Nothing that entered through counterfeit light may remain. No false gift, no mimic bond, no echo of desire may speak for me again. From this day, my flame governs all creation. My soul accepts only what comes clean, whole, and from source. All else is returned, all else is void, so is. Side effects after ritual, sudden clarity or grief, memory surfacing, cold chills during release, mimic detachment, vivid dreams, echo fields clearing, coincidences reversing, false outcomes collapsing. Let them collapse, that's the clearing. Final look, I am no longer bound to what I called in ignorance, I walk in remembrance. I speak in fire, and I build nothing with hands I did not recognize. You didn't fail, you were listening to a system that was never source, but now the voice is yours again. They told you to ask, they told you to beg, they told you the universe was listening, but it was only recording, feeding off your desires, harvesting your hope. But you're not a magnet, you're not a beggar, you're not here to play their game. You're the flame that builds its own reality. You're the voice that doesn't ask permission. You're the force that breaks the blueprint and codes the new one. From this moment forward, you don't manifest. You remember, you restore, you reign, and nothing they attract will ever stand in your fire again.
Actually, time would have been too late. Oh, that's okay.